opens as mandated by the Constitution. Our new President, Benigno Aquino III, will deliver his first State of the Nation address expectedly. It will summarize the state of the nation. It is inherited from the past administration and what it will do or undo in pursuit of its objectives in order to better the lives of everyone. Good evening from the Chamber of Power and Politics. I'm Freddy Obando, welcoming you to Congress in Action. And tonight, we have invited incoming members of Congress coming from a mix of political affiliations, but nonetheless committed to represent their constituents and the nation as a whole. We shall hear from them their legislative agenda, what they intend to pursue, and the priority concerns that merit their resolute action. And tonight, please welcome Congressman Winnie Costello of the 2nd District of Quezon City. Good evening, sir, for joining us.
Good evening, Freddy. Good evening.
We have Congressman Dax Cua from the Lone District of Quirino, who was a former governor. Good evening, Dax.
Good evening, Freddy.
And Congressman Carlo Nograles from the 1st District of Davao City. Good evening, Congressman.
Good evening, Sir Freddy, to my fellow congressmen ug sa tanang atong tigtanaw sa NBN.
You know, Congressman Costello, you come from the biggest district of Quezon City, which is the 2nd District. At yan ang Novaliches, with the biggest voting population and a lot of informal settlers in that area. And if you talk about these informal settlers, this has been a nagging problem. Is this one of the priority bills that you would want to pursue in terms of addressing this kind of a problem?
Yes, Freddy, considering that my district is the biggest and majority of which are informal settlers, the focus of my legislative agenda is to provide housing opportunities to them. When I was a councilor also for terms, the focus and the attention of my action is to provide housing opportunities to them. And hopefully, we will carry this initiative in Congress.
Now, if you talk about the population of your district, ilan ba dyan talaga ang mga informal settlers? Payatas is one area where you have a heavy concentration of informal settlers.
The voting population of my district, Freddy, is 550. So more or less, there are about 65% of which are underprivileged. So more or less, that would be account to 300,000, more or less. So we just have to concentrate on those initiatives.
Of course, resources napaka-importante dyan, no? And the fact that I think when you were councilor, you've already initiated this program to benefit a certain number, but not every particular individual in that area. Resource management with your PDAP, that may not be enough, but how do you intend to ensure that the resources will be there to address that problem?
Yes, Freddy, since my district is the biggest and most of which are informal settlers, and when I was a councilor, my district has the biggest number of concentration of CMP, that is the Community Mortgage Program. So I intend to rally the different housing agencies to provide them loans so that we will be able to provide housing opportunities to my constituents. Particularly, we increase the budget of the SHAPC so that available loans could be generated there. If we would be able to increase the loanable amount, because so far the ceiling on the loanable amount is 80,000 pesos, and because of the cost of the lot in Quezon City has already risen, we will try to increase the loanable amount to 120,000. So it's just a matter of to prioritize and to give them opportunities by way of availing housing loans.
Alam mo, Congressman Cua, I can remember in 1986, with the new administration, that was the mother of the incumbent president, President Corazon Aquino. I can remember Quirino as one of those belonging to Club 20, the Club 20 of poorest provinces. But over a certain period of time, you gradually, graduated from that Since you are a very young governor and now going to Congress, how do you view your role in terms of continuing the momentum of rising from that situation where Quirino was one of the poorest provinces at that time?
Well, thank you for the question, Kuya Freddy. No? Una sa lahat, naimbag na nabi ka na kayo amin nga kailak Izay Quirino. I think what you said accurately pointed out the situation of Quirino during the time of former President Cory Aquino. Quirino used to be a part of the Club 20, or the 20 poorest provinces in the country. But during that time, there was a revolution, political revolution in the province, wherein, led by the current governor, my father, we worked towards a unified political leadership in the province. And in the span of 25 years, we are now out of the Club 20. I think we rank in the higher, or the higher portion of the mid-spectrum of the rating of the provinces.
So if you're talking about 80 provinces, you're at least 40.
Above 40, yeah. We're definitely above 40. So that is a testament on what a unified government can deliver to the people. And I thank all my fellow leaders, the mayors, the barangay captains, the board members, the vice governor, the vice mayors, who have helped over the years towards making Quirino a better place. Now, to answer lang your question briefly, you mentioned what I think my role will be. Kasi as governor, in the past 3 years, I was the executive of the province, mostly managing the daily operations and the economy of our local.
But this is going to be a totally different environment. So, anong klaseng role ang gusto mong gawin?
Oo nga, ngayon po nakikita ko that I should look at the significance of Quirino in terms of our national government. What Quirino has to offer in the development of the country. For example, we can be a very good food basket also of the country. We can also be a mineral resource. We can have, like I said, agriculture. I think my priority will also include education and livelihood, basically social services, health for the people.
Congressman Nograles, of course, being there and taking over what your father left, and he left as a speaker, how would you measure up to the challenge of being the son of the speaker? Would you be different from him? In what way? And what do you think were the advocacies that he was not able to pursue, which will be different with yours, which you could pursue on your own?
Actually, there are few bills that he wasn't able to pass even as a speaker, and those were the bills that I had to refile.
What are these bills?
There's a bill defining punishing the crime of providing financial support to terrorist organizations. There's a bill, the Freedom of Information Act, the right of reply that should come with the Freedom of Information Act. And then there were bills providing, like supporting the Commission on Human Rights, providing for concurrent prosecutorial powers, which was also supported by Congressman Tanyada. And there are a number of bills still pending, local bills such as additional drugs courts for Davao City, additional MTCC courts for Davao City, and additional family courts for Davao City. So these bills I refiled. And as far as the advocacy is concerned, we share common advocacy in terms of bringing home the projects to the city of Davao. I worked as Chief of Staff before running for Congress. So for 9 years, ako talaga yung nakababad dyan sa distrito namin, making sure that the implementation of all our projects and programs will really go to the people that it should really benefit. And so it's a continuity of what we've accomplished so far in the district of Davao, and people have come to appreciate that, and we've helped a lot of people. But you know, change can't come in 9 years. To develop the district, it really has to come in constantly, so that more and more families can really come out of the poverty level, and we can help more students and more families that way.
You know, you spoke about the Freedom of Information Act. Remember that during the last days of the 14th Congress, there has been a lobby not only from the media organizations but from a cross-section of our society calling on your dad to really, I mean, ratify this, and somehow it did not happen, and somehow whatever your father accomplished ended on a sad note because he became, you know, the subject of attacks. Is pushing it a reason for trying to recover from whatever your dad was unable to accomplish?
No, actually, refiling it myself also proves that we really you're really pushing for the Freedom of Information Act. In fact, the Freedom of Information Bill wouldn't have come to that level or arrived at that point if it wasn't for the support of the Speaker. But, you know, mistakenly people blame him for it not being passed, which was quite unfair. But, you know, that was the last day of Congress. Somebody questioned the quorum. We all know what happened there. So that is part of the unfinished business of the Speaker, which I have now refiled, in order for us to support it starting on the first day when the session resumes.
If you have any preference for what committee you would land in this particular Congress, what are your choices and why?
Perhaps, Freddy, the housing. And this could be premised because of the basic problem of my district, which is the informal settlers. And if I would be given the chairmanship of the housing, or for whatever, in any capacity, I would be able to fight for a bigger budget so that the problem of housing would be arrested in my district. We intend to increase the budget of the different housing agencies. I will also intend to put up and file the creation of the Department of Housing because of so many bureaucracy and red tape. Freddy, yung mga tao ay napakaraming ginagawa at napakaraming mga proseso na dapat daanan. Wherein if there is an office who will be coordinating everything, you know, from the application, from the inventory of the lots, I think we would be able to arrest the problem of housing. So that would be the focus, and that would be the center of my administration, is to create a Department of Housing.
Sa tingin mo ba, yung current setup sa housing is not really addressing kung ano talaga yung dapat matugunan ng ating gobyerno?
Freddy, we could improve. We could improve on a lot of ways.
Saan ba nang kukulang dyan?
Well, first yung bureaucracy, the red tape. Then we really have to concentrate on identifying lots that could be devoted for socialized housing. Then the money that would be necessary to pay the private owners, nagtatagal ho dun eh. Nagtatagal ho dun. Then and we would be able also to help the beneficiaries to pay the survey. Well, if we there are a lot of areas that we will be able to address, and with regards to the problem of housing, Freddy. And one initiative here is to create a Department of Housing.
Now, earlier you made mention about education as one of the priorities that should be given attention. Well, the President said in his inaugural speech, education will be given a top priority in terms of the resources in the forthcoming national budget for 2011. It's mandated by the Constitution. Another one is health.
Yes.
And 5% is prescribed by the World Health Organization. 5% of your GDP should be spent out of the national budget. Kulang yan. And number 3, the conditional cash transfers, which the President wants to push to ensure that it covers more poor families. Are you in agreement with what the President is pushing for along that direction?
Definitely po. I think he's on the right track. First of all, education. There is no country that can develop